Greetings, I'm Rob Chappers.
And I'm the Captain.
Where are we, Lee?
We are at Casa Andertons in the video suite where the following 20 minutes or so of your life will be viewing Mr. Chapman blindfolded, trying to tell me whether he's listening to an expensive pedal or a cheap pedal.
Is it Let's Play Cheap versus Expensive?
Yes, so I'm assuming the video that we did of the Tone City pedals earlier today has gone live, and perhaps some of you have watched that. As we're going through the pedals, we're going, oh, I quite like that one, or, you know, blah, 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 like that. But of course, there's no context behind, you know, does it sound as good as an expensive pedal, or better, or not as good, or whatever. So now we're going to add the context, and we're going to do it with Rob blindfolded.
I was going to say, I can still see.
You can see on the floor here, viewers, if Taylor points the camera at the tea towel of doom here. The Harry Potter's cloak of invisibility. This is the towel of pedal obscurement. And underneath here are all 7 of those Tone City pedals that we demoed in the other videos with
their expensive counterpart.
Exactamundo.
Aha!
And using the power of this very clever JHS switchback, which I can switch between 2 pedals, thus not enabling you, I can't even speak. It's that
exciting.
Well, so what I don't want you to be able to hear are the switches on the pedals, because even that I think might give it away. So I'm going to plug the pedals in, I'm going to turn them both on, and then I'm just going to switch which one you're hearing using this. And because you're blindfold, you won't be able to see anything.
Tell you what though, but can't see anything now.
Well, I mean, in fairness, yeah, that's the other way of doing it.
Can see colour, but I can't see form.
So there we go. Rob, if you would please blindfold up, and I shall delve down below to get the first one. Take towel. I shall peel back the first one, and here we are. This is actually no particular order other than what's coming. Now I'm going to. How can I do this, YouTube land? Shall I tell you what the pedals are, and therefore allowing Rob to know what the pedals are? Or shall I'll save that, I think, actually. I've just got to remember how to plug these all in now. Okay. Now, when we were doing those Tone City pedals, you mentioned that one of them was a bit blues breakery martially.
I did.
So I decided to go and find a pedal that is widely considered as a market-leading blues breakery martially thing.
Is it the Blues Breaker?
I'm not telling you. So here we go. Here are our 2 pedals. An affordable, what we think is blues breakery kind of sounding pedal, and an expensive blues breakery sounding pedal, with the controls a little bit different, but you know, I'm just trying to get the 2 in a sort of a ballparky kind of figure. And Monsieur Rob, here we go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, which switch we're going to do today? And if you're playing along at home, you need to shut your eyes now. Here we go, 1, 2, 3.
Can I play?
Yes. Either a more expensive alternative or a cheaper option. To the first one. The second one.
And again.
Nice blindfolded playing. The first one. Right, choose. Which do you believe is the affordable one, and which one do you think is the expensive one?
I have two things to tell you.
Go on.
So, the expensive one, but I prefer the sound of the cheap one for the lead.
Okay, so here's what you prefer, right?
Lead, that sounds
and
great.
This is the one you think is the expensive one.
The expensive one, I prefer it for rhythm.
I'm going to literally pile these up now with the one that you say is the most expensive one on top, and then we'll revisit at the end. But whilst I'm doing that, Rob, what is it that you think makes a sound expensive?
Well, in that instance, it was a lot smoother. Like, attention had been paid to where the frequencies needed to sit. And it wasn't as harsh, but you need that harshness with the lead. I really enjoyed the harmonic sort of attack of what I think is the tone cité.
Right. Well, duel number 2 is between two fuzz pedals, which you'll know as soon as I turn it on because it'll sound
Fuzzy.
One of which is affordable, one of which is more expensive. Let's switch them both on and let's go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, 1, 2, 3, 4. If not, you are not it. Right, Bosch, which one? Go.
Bosch. Can you put a little bit more level in it?
Yes. Change?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Change again. More fuzz in.
Voila. Change again. Here we go.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, what were you going to say? I didn't.
Well, I was going to say I was on the Tone City, and I think that I'm confused now. It's the expensive one.
Do you want some? Okay. Do you want to leave it at that, or do you want to do some more choppy chargy?
Leave it like that, man.
Okay. Well, there we go. I think sometimes first impressions are the way to go. Right, pedal number 3 is another drive pedal. It's also a very famous drive pedal, one in which almost everyone will have owned at some point or another, and certainly everybody's cloned at one point or another, for shizzle. So here we go. Think of another nursery rhyme that, what do you call it? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, I declare a peanut war. Go.
Peanut war. Oh, with a tie. I remember that. Tube Screamer, man. I mean,
Okay, let's see what the other one is then.
That's not a tube screamer, but it sounds nice. More of
Here's the other one. Go. Wow. Well, do you know, I literally was just changing backwards and forwards there and backwards and forwards, and it's almost indiscernibly different, although when you played them in isolation there was more difference. But hey, so come on, you can play count to 5 in your head on one pedal and count to 5 on the other, and then tell me which is which. So starting with number 1. Same lick.
Cheap one. In fairness, I have played a tube screamer for about 20 years.
Fine. So
it sounds good though. It does. I'd wager if you brightened that tube screamer and added more gain, you'd get really close to it.
You're assuming that you're getting it right each time, but hey.
I am assuming that that's true.
Right, here we go. Bosh. Next one is an echo pedal. And
this I'm not going to have a hope in hell with this.
And as you may or may not remember from the Tone City video, I suggested that I thought this particular Tone City pedal sounded like something else quite famous as well. So here we go. Now I have already in a previous life set these up so that the actual delay speeds and repeats and everything are pretty close, or as close as I could get them. Of course, you know, I'm not going to start fiddling around with that. Just assume, in actual fact, just for you on camera, it's actually a longer delay on this one than there is on this one, but that's not how I've set them up. There's also modulation on this one, which isn't on this one, so whatever. Okay, another nursery rhyme then. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall and then fell off. So here we go with one echo.
Expensive one.
And the other echo.
I'd stick by my statement, and the only thing I think will ever give it away is the degradation of the repeats in the mimicry of tape. But I'll have absolutely nothing else to go by.
Okay, back to the first one again.
Could you make the repeats a little bit faster?
I don't know how this goes. Try it again.
Yeah, I think I'm right. I think I can hear in the expensive one this imitation of the flutter and the wow of tape that the other one isn't pretending to have.
So
obviously.
Can I just for clarity, the first one that you tried is the one you think's the expensive one, correct?
Okay, let me go one more time.
This is the first one you tried. And this is the second one you tried.
That's the affordable one.
Okay, I'm stopping now before I get myself into a pickle. Okay, next we're going a flanger. We have taken I don't even know if there is such a thing as an industry standard flanger, but I've basically taken what I think is one. Actually, in this instance, it's still quite a lot more expensive than the affordable one, and I've got them both on like a medium setting, and I do accept that there are more features on the dearer one that we aren't using, including it being stereo, which we're not doing now. So here we go with another nursery rhyme that I can't think of. Do you want to build a snowman? Come on and da-da-da, don't know the words. There we go, go. Oh, tuner off.
How am I supposed to tell the difference here?
We haven't heard the other one yet. They might be vastly different. The concentration, the beads of sweat on his forehead.
Okay, swap it. Is it swap?
Yeah.
If I had to guess, I'd say
you do. That is the point of the video. Yes.
I am now on the affordable one.
Okay. I mean, let's just strum a bit longer and just whilst you're strumming, I'll literally just switch and we'll see what we can hear.
But I'd like to stick with what I've just said.
Okay. I'm not trying to change my mind. I just want. Fine. Okay. Well, if I believe correctly, YouTube land, I think Rob thought that one was the more expensive one, didn't he? So yes. Okay. Let's pile that up over here. There's only there's two more.
This
two
is
more
so
underneath
hard.
my towel. So this next one is the sort of the filter, auto wari kind of
the Q
thing, and consequently. You people at home, the sort of the expensive alternative uses a 24-volt power supply, so that's why I'm just using a slightly different power supply. Again, lots more knobs and buttons on the expensive one, but I've just kind of set it up in its sort of basic Q-Tron mode. So here we are, Andy Pandy sat on no, that's Humpty Dumpty, isn't it? What's another one? Let's Morse code for save my soul. Go.
Be fun. Okay, swap it. That's the cheap one. I'll tell you what gives it away.
What gives it away, Rob?
The distinctive lack of low end.
I do agree that the one that you are wildly guessing is the expensive one does have a lot more bass end than the one that you're assuming is the affordable one.
Unless I'm going to be very embarrassed when I take this blindfold off.
Well, Let's be honest with you.
I'll tell you what.
Well, what?
Just. Can you add more low end into that pedal?
No.
Or can you take low end away from the other pedal?
Possibly.
Okay.
Okay, let's try this now.
And it just randomly flick between the two.
Beep, 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 beep.
Blah. Ready?
Yeah.
It's like playing through a radio. It's just, for me, the one with that lush, rich thickness is the more expensive one.
Which one is that now?
So
here's option 1. Here's option 2.
Well, option 2 is the cheap one.
Fine. Well, thank you very much for your... what's the right word? I'm not going to say guesswork, because you're not guessing.
I very much am guessing.
But you are playing the two and making a decision based on what your ears are telling you. Last one. This one, actually, I should, in fairness to the one we've chosen as the expensive one, is actually the least expensive of all of them. So most of the other pedals are sort of 2 or 3 times the price of the Tone City one. In this instance, this is only about 20 quid dearer, but it's kind of industry standard, sort of. So, or not industry standard, very popular. So here we have.
What pedal is it?
This is a chorus pedal.
Can I have some gain on the amp? Because I am much more familiar using chorus with gain.
You may indeed. I'll put, we'll start clean and then we'll add some distortion in.
Alrighty.
And lastly, YouTube, please collectively all think of a number. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Amazing. There we go. Which one's which? Oh. Okay, sorry.
Okay, change it. I mean, can I have more depth on both of them?
More depth on both of them.
Give me more depth.
Okay,
make it really obvious.
We'll just go maximum, pretty much maximum depth and half speed on both. Half speed, Mr. Zulu.
A lot of effect there.
Giving it all I can.
Okay, and change it. Can you slow that one down a bit?
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. Can I have the gain?
Yes.
May I have the gain?
What have we got the channels?
That reminds me of when I was learning guitar in the 90s, and it sounds like the kind of Digitech type choruses you'd get. Change it? Yeah, change it. That's nice. they're both great.
Right, I need a decision. I'm going back to the clean sound.
The one when I said, "Oh, that's nice," I'm going to say that's the expensive one.
Which one was that?
That's nice.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Mr. Chapman. You may unveil... quickly. Bosh.
Can I unveil?
You can unveil. I think it is fair to say in a game of 7 goals, the Posh Pedals won 5-2.
That's not bad.
It's pretty good. So if we just go through it, just so that everybody knows. The first one was a Tone City Noisy Boy versus a Snouse Blackbox. Lots and lots of companies have kind of tried to do a blues breaker style circuit. There's nothing from Tone City to say that this is supposed to be a blues breaker, by the way. They're quite... anything that you read on the internet generally about what Tone City pedals are copies of will be someone's opinion. I don't think Tone City themselves have ever kind of nailed their colours to the mask. So, but Rob thought when we were doing this demo it sounded a bit blues breakery. So that's what it. And then Rob thought this one was the more expensive, but actually said he kind of preferred the sound of that on the lead. So maybe that's a tie. I don't know.
Yeah, I could tell which was which, but I liked the Tone City for the leads.
If I remember rightly, the second one was the Fuzz, and you were quite...
What was the call?
Again, Rubine versus the Fuzz Bender. Pete and I tried 3 or 4 Fuzzes prior to you coming up the stairs to go sort of what does it feel like this was in the ballpark of, and it didn't really feel that this was in a big muffy kind of ballpark.
It's not smooth
So
enough.
we tried something a bit more tone bendery.
Yeah.
I didn't know... You liked the Fuzz Bender better, or at least you thought that one was the dearer one.
Did I choose the Tone City? Oh,
No, you chose...
No, look at the chorus pedals.
Oh, yeah, you
Dear
did.
boss,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So the first... Oh, no, then we did... Did we Tube Screamer next? I can't even remember. So you basically just went... You said, that's the Tube Screamer.
Yeah.
And it was.
It was very obvious.
I'll be honest with you. There was a point during that video where I was literally going... while you were playing. And honestly... didn't sound any different, but hey, there you go. Tube Screamer is always going to be, for me, an iconic pedal, but if you can't afford one, the Tone City is a good alternative. The first Tone City winner, Blue Crystal, you were pretty adamant was the more expensive version of the carbon copy, and that's not bad considering the carbon copy is nearly 3 times the price, so there we are. Sorry, MXR.
I don't have one of those.
Kind of feels like the MXR is chunkier and better built, and it's got the modulation in there as well. But hey, for 59 quid, well done,
Can I
Tone
also say
City.
that guessing the delay is probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
A Flanger, again, I don't really... You chose the Boss over
I
the
heard
Tone City.
more harmonic content in the foldback.
It sounded softer, more pleasant to me. But the basic... You guys heard
if you were
it.
It was game.
Q-Tron, this was probably the hardest one to... I mean, the Q-Tron got so many options on it, as you can see, and you could make it sound much bassier, you could make it sound much shriller.
That was really fun to play with.
Yeah, and obviously the Auto Wah the Funny Boy by Tone City doesn't have all those options, so it was a bit harder to match these up, but you get the idea. It's in the right kind of ballpark, and again, massively cheaper for the Tone City. And last one, the last will end on a Tone City win. I think I said before that...
That's embarrassing because I was so certain I got that right. That's nice.
Okay, but there's not a big difference in price on these. Pete and I were sort of going, what is the sort of iconic chorus? And we were sort of going...
What's the CE?
CE2, which is discontinued. So we kind of went, I suppose we could have maybe gone Wazza chorus. But CH1 I think is about 85 quid, something like that. So it's about £25 more than the Silver Angel. But you like the Silver Angel more anyway.
Did.
So it was a win for...
You know what's bad is I own that CE pedal.
Yeah, look, I mean, lots of these things. The Boss has a stereo output, which the Silver Angel doesn't have. So you may still elect... And hey, you heard them. Maybe you disagreed with Rob. Maybe you went, no, I like that one better or that one better. But look, bit of fun for you there.
Biggest surprise to me is that Blue Crystal.
Well, considering how many thousands and thousands of these get sold, and I have one of these. This is actually my old one. It's a great sounding pedal. So, hey. Oh, look, there you go. Pedal schmedal. It's all an illusion. It's all an illusion. Thank you very much, Mr. C.
You're more than welcome, sir. Thank
you. Yes, that was it. We were using, by the way, the Blackstar HT20 and an old Fender Elite Strat that I must at some point sell and replace with a new Fender Ultra. Or better still, Fender could just send us one for nothing.
Take this Plectrum as my ending of this video.
Au revoir.